Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of Just Another G.I. Joe Show. I am your host. I'm your episode. Say it again. I'm your host, Mike. We got a couple of regulars with us, and then we also got a special guest, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Fred, you know the routine. Go ahead and tell them everything.
Hi, I'm Fred, owner and admin of JoeBattleLines.com, that hack website that occasionally posts reviews. You can find me at JoeBattleLines.com, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and yes, kids, even Google Plus at Joe Battlelines.
Fred.
And then next we have this guy with the smoothest name imaginable, Rick. Take it away.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Shattered Glass Jazz.
That's because Twitter lost their exclusive rights a few.
Yeah, I decided to try Instagram.
He's dipping his toe in the social pool.
Yeah. Yes. And then we got. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, Mike, take it away.
You go ahead. You're such a more smoother talker than I am.
And we have a very special guest tonight. He is a Kindle Worlds author. He is also one of the editors of the recently published essay collection, Joy of Joe. Mr. Jim Beard. I know I'm omitting half of your credits, Jim. So go ahead and just give everybody a little introduction to the world of the Beard.
At least half. At least half of them.
Are we losing already?
Did you lose me already?
Oh no, you're still good, Jim. So Jim, you also write for Marvel.com, if I'm correct.
Right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, okay. No, sorry, no one said anything. Hey, thanks for having me. Yes, yeah. I'm mostly a writer of adventure fiction, but I also do some nonfiction books, and my latest one is this one, The Joy of Joe.
So, Jim, let's just jump right into Joy of Joe. It is an essay collection spanning all eras of G.I. Joe. So not just the real American hero, but all the way back to, the 60s line and everything. Can you tell us a little bit, how did this book come about?
Yeah, I'm glad that you called that out, because it's a very important part of this book. I wanted to do a book on G.I. Joe. I wanted to do something different that maybe hadn't been done before. And as great as all of the Collecting Joe and Guide to G.I. Joe are, I didn't want to have just another book that talked about the toys and the Sears exclusives and things like that, which is great. I really wanted to talk about what was important to me, which was actually playing with the toy and as kids. It started as a toy for kids, obviously, and it still is to some extent. But I really wanted to hear stories from people like me that grew up with G.I. Joe, and it was really important to have all eras represented. If we did our job right, you should see a common thread that goes from 1964 all the way up to now, where no matter what era you grew up in and played with G.I. Joe, the joy is the same. And I hope that we're going to put that across in this book.
And how many essays, for those who haven't ordered it, which it is available on Amazon.com in Kindle format and paperback. We'll put a link up in the show description, so you can get your own copy. But Jim, how many essays did you end up collecting for this?
It's 30 essays altogether, and not only do we have people from the G.I. Joe community, especially my two co-editors, Bill Medro and Justin Bell, but people like Dave West and Brandon Jerwa, John Mitchlig, We also went and tried to get some fiction writers to come in who grew up with Joe, and what I'm really proud of is some real big professionals. We've got legendary comic book writer Paul Kupperberg, who actually grew up with the Soldier Joes in the '60s. We've got again, legendary comic book writer Fabian Nikiza, or Nikiza, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And this one is incredible to me. Is legendary comic artist Jerry Ordway actually chimes in too about playing with G.I. Joe as a kid.
That's fantastic. So it really goes to show that G.I. Joe touched more people than just the current collector base, which I think is awesome. How did you go about collecting the essays, and what was the process of determining, what made the cut and what didn't? Because I know you probably received more than you could probably publish.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, it was a project that took quite a while. It kind of broke down not long after I got it started, and for a lot of personal reasons, it sat for a while. It took about 2 years to put it together, but it's done now, and that's what's important. I knew that I wanted people from the Joe community in there, and Justin and Bill were really instrumental in suggesting people to me. We did put out word in through some channels that we were doing the book, and we got some people came in. A lot of my writer comrades, said to me, "Boy, I'd really like to, contribute to that." And then I knew these different professionals, and we went to them too. One of the incredible things that happened was that when people contacted me and said that they wanted to be part of the book, we ended up getting, for example, right off the top of my head, a gentleman from Norway contacted me and said, would you like to hear the Norwegian point of view on playing with G.I. Joe in Norway? And it's like, absolutely. We're not just going to limit this to the United States. So we have some British point of view, Norwegian point of view, Ireland. And I love that, because not only is it this common thread through eras, but also throughout the world of playing with the toy.
Was there anything when you were getting the submissions that kind of, I think you probably answered this with Norway, but was there anything that really kind of surprised you when you were reading through the submissions that you were like, "Oh, I never thought we'd get this," or "I never knew that"?
Yeah. I think some of the ones that, and it was a pleasant surprise, is that they were able to channel, playing with the toy and just loving that as a child, and somehow channel that into something that they've done as an adult. And I think it's Dave West, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the prime examples of that. That he's actually one of the writers of one or more of the G.I. Joe video games. So to hear that he made good after childhood of playing with G.I. Joe is just incredible. There's some really heartwarming stories here, and there's a few that they might get close to breaking your heart. The first review that we got, we were told that we made the reader cry with some of the stories. So.
Oh, wow.
So there's some poignancy in there, but the main thing with everybody, they were told that, to tell us about the joy that you felt, from G.I. Joe.
I think that's something that we can all agree is, especially everybody who discovered Joe as a kid, the connection that you had with it, and how much of you put into the play adventures that you had, that they weren't just limited by a predetermined narrative. Just because I know you had said that, you wanted all eras. Does that, what are some of like the oldest stories? I mean, did you have people who got it, who played with it, like literally right in the 60s from when it first was launched?
Yeah, there's a couple like that. And the one that comes to mind is Paul Kupperberg. We actually had him kick off the book. We talked about setting the essays up by era. And the more I thought about it, I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want people to pick up the book and maybe just kind of zero in on the era that they came out of, because I really felt that they were going to miss out on some incredible stories otherwise. So we mix them up. You will read, like Paul Kupperberg kicks it off, and he's in the 60s. He's solidly in those, probably like 1964, 65, right in the beginning, right when this toy came out. And, the very next essay is a real American hero essay. I say in my introduction, I really urge people to not kind of gloss over or skip over anyone that's from an era that they're not familiar with. Because, again, I can't stress this enough. They're going to find something familiar in that. Maybe they don't know the story of Mike Power, Atomic Man. Maybe they're more of a Beachhead fan or something like that, but they're going to see something familiar. They're going to see kids that maybe were 10 years before them, but still did stuff like took sticks and rocks and dug trenches in the backyard and filled them with water and did, all those same sorts of things that we all did. Or maybe even something crazy, or even combine other licenses. There's a really great story by Bobby Nash about combining Star Wars play toys with his G.I. Joes, and the story behind that. And then the really fun thing is that there's some crossover memories in some of those transition periods, one of which is mine. I actually came in right at that weird time in 1970 when it was the Adventures of G.I. Joe that was just going over into the Adventure Team. So there was a little whiff of the military still on him, and then we go right into the Adventure Team. I think there's even one essay that talks about Super Joe, the G.I. Joe we don't talk about, in the late 70s, and some of the later guys, and they're talking about some of the transition periods in Real American Hero. So there's no reason to skip over any tales. I hope people will read the book from beginning to end and kind of wonder what's going to come next. They read about the Adventure Team and turn the page, and maybe they're going to see a story about the 16th soldier, or maybe they're going to hear about how somebody met Duke for the first time.
So when you were getting the submissions, did you get any from any kids? I mean, I know Joe is currently not in a state where it's being promoted heavily to children, but I was just curious, did you get maybe a younger fan who maybe they learned about it from a parent, or still caught, apparently kids are watching it on YouTube now.
Yeah, that would have been wonderful. Now, a couple of the guys did talk about how they were G.I. Joe fans when they were a kid, and now their own children are, and they've passed that love on, which is fantastic. But yeah, that would have been cool. And I got to tell you, one of the tiny little regrets that I have, and we kind of looked a little bit, and I almost had one at one point, was a memoir from a female fan of G.I. Joe. I know that they're out there, and I know that goes back to at least the Adventure Team. And I almost had somebody who was going to get me a memoir, like that. So somebody was just asking me, like, if I did a sequel, what is it going to be? And I said, well, for one thing, I hope to get some ladies chiming in about playing with G.I. Joe as a kid, and I joked that maybe the whole book, if we ever do more Joy of Joe, it's going to be all female writers in the book.
Going, because I understand you're going to be at JoeCon this year for the first time, and you'll be on the Kindle Worlds panel. that's probably a great place to reach out to any possible female, anybody who wants to contribute a female perspective on it. I know Diana Davis won't be there this year.
If there's any listening out there now, contact me, walk up to me and say, hey, I want to be in a sequel. I think that would be great. I think back to when I was a kid and the girls that lived next door, and there was a couple down the street, they had Barbies, of course. And there was a lot of times where we all got together in one big gang and played G.I. Joes and Barbies together. And of course, it was a lot of times it was, Barbie and G.I. Joe are married, but somehow me and my friends that were boys, we managed to, break out of that domesticity and wreck the house, with the ATV, somehow. And there was octopus living in the bathtub and things like that. But that would be really wonderful. Really looking forward to that panel, by the way. Yeah, my first modern Joe Con, and my last, from what I understand, too, that this is the end of this particular show.
Yeah, it's the last year that Fun Publications will be spearheading the con. You had mentioned earlier, Jim, that you came in on that Adventures of G.I. Joe era, so the transition. I'm just curious because I always like to ask this, and because I've read your Mystery of the Sunken Tomb fiction, which I will be talking about. Do you have a favorite Joe from when you were a kid, and what was
it? A story or a particular G.I. Joe?
One of the actual Joes themselves.
Oh, here's my story. I only had one as a child. I had one, and he was my only one through my childhood. Now, that said, I had a Mike Power, and I had a Bullet Man, and I had one of the Intruders. But as far as a pure, honest to goodness, G.I. Joe himself, I had one. I had friends around me that had more than one, but mine was kind of unusual because I had one of the smooth painted hair G.I. Joes. It was still, I got mine in Christmas of '69. So that was right before the lifelike hair, the flocking, and the beards and all of that. So mine is clean shaven, smooth headed, and a redhead like I'm a redhead. So, and if in my essay you'll see where I actually gave mine a name. He had a title, a rank, and a name, which was kind of unusual from what I understand, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I'd love to hear from people. So he was my constant companion, through childhood. I realized now he was an extension of me. I told people that he was what I was going to look like when I grew up, because he was a redhead, and his name was Jim, like mine was. So yeah, he was my favorite because he was my one and only.
When you were compiling the essays, and again, it's all eras, you got a good look into the psyche of a lot of different Joe fans with these memories. And I'm just curious, what do you think is part of the enduring appeal of G.I. Joe? The reason that we're all sitting here tonight talking about this, and that the reason that we're all trekking down to Chattanooga next week. What is there a common theme that when you were compiling this that came up that said, man, that is the that's why G.I. Joe has endured?
G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe is eternal. G.I. Joe it's never really gonna die. These are the things that I saw coming out of these essays. And I was just saying this to somebody yesterday, that there's going to be low points, and obviously we're in a low point at the moment. But it's gonna survive. It's the world's greatest toy, as far as I'm concerned. And I know people can argue that with me, but it's been here since 1964, and it's going to be here in 2064. And really the great depth of feeling that people have for this one toy is just amazing. And I saw it over and over and over coming through, these essays, the impact that it had on people's childhoods and later life. It's just sometimes breathtaking.
It's actually funny you should mention that. I've been doing a lot of things on Facebook as far as Joe Con, and there's actually a guy. I'm not even for sure what country he's from, but he is flying 26 hours to get to Joe Con.
Wow,
26 hours flying. Again, I'm not for sure what country he's from, but that is a hell of a flight just to come for a week-long show. Which I knew a guy who came from where's Chris from? Rick, where's Chris from? The UK?
Chris who?
Barrett.
Yeah.
Barrett, where's he from? Is it the UK?
That sounds right. Yep.
Yeah, he flew over for the last year of BotCon. So he had a long flight too.
The guys that do G.I. Joe Burger, 3 of them are coming from South Africa.
Yeah.
So people will come, and it's really amazing.
Just for a hunk of plastic. And you know what I mean. You know what I mean when I say that. I mean, when you boil it down, for a jointed piece of plastic.
I know Kirk Bazigian, who was the brand manager of the Real American Hero era. He always talked about how, the goal was with the cartoons and the comic was to start the adventure in the mind of kids, but let them take it off in whatever direction their imagination, could conceive. And I think there's something about that being rooted in your formative years that really endures you to a property. And it, I've just over the years, I know we've all talked to people, and I'm curious if this also came out in the book, is that G.I. Joe the experiences with G.I. Joe helped as a kid, helped shape who these people are as adults.
Yeah. One of the amazing things that I discovered, talk about discovering things from these essays, is I gotta admit I'm biased. I love the 12-inch 60s 70s GI Joe, and I used to go around and saying we had to have more of an imagination when I was little, because they didn't have individual personalities, names, file cards, and all of that. One of the things that I was surprised to find out is how many times kids went off book with Real American Hero and did invent their own storylines and adventures and things like that. It was a little less spelled out than I thought it was. And not to put down Real American Hero, I praise Real American Hero because it's kept G.I. Joe alive all this time. But it was really interesting to see, again, that common thread that kept going from when I came up with the name and everything for my G.I. Joe and gave him a personality and then some individuality, that even when it was spelled out on the back of a package, that there were kids who still added more to it or just went away from that altogether. And like I said about like Bobby Nash, combining it with other lines of toys and to make something truly unique. And that's just another aspect of this whole phenomenon.
So I kind of want to transition into something. We can come back to the book, but you are going to be appearing at the Kindle Worlds panel this year, and we know that sadly the entire Kindle Worlds program, so not just GI Joe, the whole thing, Amazon is phasing that out now.
Yeah.
But you, I first became aware of your writing through that, a couple years ago, I happened across a story called The Mystery of the Sunken Tomb, which is a very 70s centric adventure team story. And it, can you talk to us a little bit about Mystery of the Sunken Tomb and just what was it like writing about a group of people that didn't really have much in the way of official fiction and in all of that?
It was on my bucket list, pretty much almost at the top of my bucket list as a fiction writer, to write an adventure team adventure, an adventure team adventure. And when I found out that the Kindle Worlds, one of the properties that they had was G.I. Joe, I about fell off my chair. And the first thing I did was I sent an email to the Hasbro reps that were mentioned in the press release for G.I. Joe being part of Kindle Worlds. And I said to them, hey, I can't see anything in here that doesn't say that all eras are included. So I said, does this include the 70s adventure team? And they came back very quickly and said, yes, the only thing that you cannot write about is anything based off of the movie. It was just one movie at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, no problem here. Now, it took me about a year to creep up to it and get it done. But I got to tell you, it was daunting because, again, this was my, holy grail to do something like this. And I wanted to do it in the right way. So I scoured, I had lists of all of the different adventure team, the sets, the adventure sets, the equipment, everything. And I said, this has to be, so immersed in all of the glory of the adventure team, because I don't know if I'll ever get this chance again. So people seem to like it. And Fred, if I'm not mistaken, I actually use a quote from your review as my part of the when you go to the Amazon page, that it's like up top where it says like press reviews or something like that. So if that's true, then thank you very much. Everybody seemed pretty enthusiastic for it.
I think the only part of that was disappointing to me is when I finished it and I saw that it was there. It announced that G.I. Joe will return, and it just for whatever reason, it just that story hasn't been told yet, because you had me hooked, and I was page turning page sliding on my tablet like crazy. And it
all
was.
Right,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm issuing you a personal apology here, live on the air. I'm a personal apology to you for not following up on it. You know what? Part of the reasons is I'm a very slow writer, but one of the other reasons is that to me it came out exactly the way I wanted it to, that first one, and I couldn't imagine doing it again. Like, how would I ever follow this up? And I had a trilogy planned out, but you know what? Every time I went to start it, I thought, no, there's no way it could never be this perfect storm again. And so it dragged out. Thank God, when we did the contest a couple of years ago with Bill Nedrow and Justin Bell, my co-editors on this, and Troy Osgood, when Hasbro chose the four of us for the contest of which character from our Kindle World stories would get their own action figure. We, instead of becoming rivals and competitors, we actually banded together and became friends. And we started talking among ourselves, and we said, let's put those four characters into a serialized story. So thankfully, I was able to do another, adventure team story, although it was just a short story. But I got to tell you this, I hope this doesn't make you too mad. I was actually going to write a second short story and have it published right before JoeCon, and I was going to actually announce it at the panel at JoeCon. And
Ugh.
pretty much like the day before I was going to start writing, I think it was Bill. Bill sends me a private message, or we have a group thing on Facebook, and he's like, "Well, that's it. Kindle Worlds is over."
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, gee, I guess I don't have to write that Adventure Team story then. Wah wah wah.
So with Kindle Worlds ending, I'm not alone in saying that I've purchased quite a few of them over the years, and it's going to be sad to see it go. Quite honestly, because and it sounds like Amazon really didn't give you guys anything in the way of warning.
Yeah, that was horrible thing went down on that.
Have you had any word about, like, okay, so if you've already purchased the story, will you still continue to have access to it? Or, I mean, is it completely going away because of licensing agreement? Or have you heard any more?
No, from what I understand, it all gets shut down. The rights to the stories revert back to us, the writers. And by that, I mean not the characters and the concept that are part of the license, but the actual story. And that's usually the way it is in most things when you write a licensed work, is that the story is oftentimes owned by the author. And sometimes a license holder will say, maybe, meaning like if you wanted to repurpose the story somehow, but obviously not the characters or the concepts or anything like that. So that's all we really know. If you bought the works, they don't disappear from your Kindle. They're not like suddenly yanked back or anything like that. It's just that once it shuts down, that's it. They're already in a period of time where no more can be published. They had a cutoff date. And I know a couple of the guys got their last G.I. Joe works in right, under the wire, and got them published. So they get about a month or so, of having them up and getting a little bit of royalty still from that. But no, other than that, that's it. I don't know why for the whys and wherefores, other than, hey, I don't have any regrets. It was fun, and I got to do something incredible that I've always wanted to do. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. I'll always have that thrill, and especially the extension of that is that I was part of that contest. And that was voted on across the world, and a character that I wrote or I created, although a derivative of the G.I. Joe universe, almost got an action figure made, and it was a fun time, and I'm glad I did it. And I can still do things like this nonfiction book, the Joy of Joe, and who knows, maybe someday I'll have my own version of the Adventure Team out there somehow, which is something that I was actually heading down that road to, and then the Kindle Worlds thing came up, and I said, heck with that, I'm going to do the real thing.
You mentioned the fans' choice poll from a couple years ago, where it was okay, I'm trying to remember them all. It was Stiletto, which was Bill. That was Bill Nedros. Whisper, which was Justin Bell's. Yeah. Marcus, Venture Team Marcus, which was from yours, and then Blackjack, which I believe was Troy Osgood's. Am I remembering this? Basically, can you
right?
What was that like when Hasbro contacts you and says, "Oh, hey, listen, we're doing a poll, and one of your characters might become an action figure"?
Yeah. I mean, well, I was floored, for one thing, and then I was immediately filled with anxiety because I didn't know how the hell I was even going to have any kind of a chance when I was going up against 3 real American hero, derivative, things. And once I had a talk with myself and said, listen, you're not going to win this thing. You're going to try like hell to win it, but you're not going to win it, but you're going to have a good time doing it. But there's no way that in a world that still is based on a real American hero, some dumb thing from the early 70s is not gonna win it. But hey, listen, I was kind of surprised of the support that did come up for Marcus. We never ever learned what the votes were. There was no way that Hasbro was ever going to tell us what that is, but they did tell me that he did make a good showing, whatever that means. And, I'm eternally grateful for everybody who voted for it. I tried to get us a brand new Adventure Team toy, but it just wasn't to be.
And you've also done some other works that are on Kindle. I know I'm aware of 2. Forgive me if I'm missing any of the Captain Actions fiction that you did.
Yeah, almost. Boy, most of my stuff there's a Kindle version of. There's only, I think, a few things that are not. But yeah, for G.I. Joe fans, I think the thing that I would point them to immediately, because it's to me, it's just an extension of that, is, if you like G.I. Joe and you want something more, why not G.I. Joe's one-time rival toy on the shelves from 66 to 68, 69 Captain Action, which, was a competitor from the Ideal Toy Company. Give it a try. If you love the idea of a toy coming to life in an original action fiction story, then that might be the ticket for you.
Are you going to have copies of any of your books besides Joy of Joe? I'm assuming available for purchase at JoeCon this year.
No, I regret that. Unless somebody wants to contact me in the next few days and ask me to bring something particular along with me, I'm going to be lugging a box of the Joy of Joe with me. I figure it's a G.I. Joe convention. I should probably bring this G.I. Joe book. We actually are looking at the show as this book's debut. I mean, it's published right now, but this is really the first time that it will be out in public and for everybody to see. And I urge people, come up to me at the show. I'll have them with me. And not only do you have the other 2 editors, all 3 of us can sign it for you, but there's at least one other essayist that's going to be at it. Carson Matakis is going to be there, and he has an essay in it called "The O-Ring Gauntlet." I love that title. And he'll, if you find him, I'm sure he'd be happy to sign the book too. But yeah, again, I think it's just because I don't have a table, there, and I'm going to be walking around lugging these books as it is. So please come and take these books off my hands.
A good thing for you to do is to post the, are you staying at the Con Hotel?
No, I'm actually just there for the day. So I should be there at 10. I'm just there on Saturday. I'm sorry, I should probably say that. I'm going to be there for Saturday. I hope to be there right when it opens at 10, and then stay until 5 or 6 whenever it it ends. The easiest way to find me is to come to that Kindle Worlds panel. A lot of people already have said to us, like, "What the heck are you going to talk about?" Well, we want to talk about our time with Kindle Worlds and the fun that we had. We're going to talk a little bit about Joy of Joe, and a few other things. Bill has some exciting announcement. It's not Hasbro related, but it's something that he hasn't even told us what the deal is on it yet. So I'm just going to be excited to be there. I went to one G.I. Joe show ever in my life, and that was It was either 1991 or 1992 in Burbank, California. And at that point, I was to understand that was the first official G.I. Joe convention, but I found out that that wasn't, that there were a few shows before that. But it was the first by a particular promoter, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, you can count on selling one, because I was gonna buy it on Amazon, and then I saw you were coming to the show, so I was like, I'd rather get it straight from the author.
And what's the price on your book as well?
Well, I will have a copy.
What's the price on your book?
Say again, please.
The price. How much is the book going to cost?
Oh, the book is just $10.
Okay.
It's $9.99 on Amazon, but I charge a 1 penny handling and shipping fee.
Well, if you're lugging around the damn con, I don't blame you for having that damn penny on there.
Yeah. So yeah, a crisp $10 bill will get you this book. And then if somebody wants the Kindle version, now I can't carry those with me. I find it a real bitch to have to sign those, you know. So
hey, look, he signed my Kindle screen.
People get mad when they hold up their tablets, you know, and I take out my black Sharpie and I write across the front of it. You know? But you can go on Amazon and get the Kindle version of it for just $2.99. We wanted to keep this book reasonable. It's 140 pages,
Wow.
and it's slim, but it's chock full of joy and goodness, and we wanted to keep the price reasonable. So again, $9.99 or $2.99 for the Kindle, and then $10 for the 1 penny is really for my signature. And it's worth every penny of that.
And I'm looking here, and your panel, make sure I say it correctly. Of course, I was looking at the wrong day. You're 2 o'clock on Saturday. You'll be in meeting rooms 13 through 15, where all the all the panels will be at. So you'll be there from 2 to 2:50, for sure, selling the book. And then I'm sure if you'll be walking around the dealer room floor and having a good time like the rest of us will be.
Yep. Yeah, don't mob me all at once. There's enough of me to go around.
I said that a couple of times and I got divorced, so I don't say that too often. But anyways, man, we appreciate you jumping on board, and I know we had some. I know we were going all week long trying to figure out, will he make it on? Will he not make it on? Can he log on? Can he not log on? So I'm glad we actually were able to get you on, and you actually, I know when you first got on, we had a little bit of issue there, but you made it through the show, the whole part of the show for that. And I really appreciate you jumping on board, and we're happy to get you out there as best as we can before JoeCon, and hopefully you have a good panel. I know me and Fred will be there. Rick, you gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be there. So
good.
We appreciate it.
We can count on at least 3 people in the audience.
At least 3. If anything, we'll be rooting it up really good for you.
And for anybody else,
I'm going to issue this challenge to everybody listening: is let's mob this panel. And not for me, and not for the book, but for Justin and for Bill, because they have done a fantastic job. They have way more Joe Kindle Worlds stories up there than I do. They are 2 incredible guys, and they have incredible stories to tell. Let's make this panel like the largest audience of any of the panels. Instead of making it the smallest one, don't ask, why would they have a Kindle Worlds panel? Just come, and we're just going to have some Joe fun and talk about G.I. Joe, and not worry about anything that's ending, just stuff that's beginning.
I like that attitude a lot.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well put.
Really do.
And for anybody else out there who wants to check out Jim's work, seriously, go on Amazon. Just type in Jim Beard for the author. If you're looking for some good kind of pulp adventure, that classic, a little bit of swashbuckling kind of feel. Jim's got a ton of stuff out there in both print and in Kindle format. And it runs the gauntlet. Again, we talked about the Kindle Worlds Joe stories. We mentioned Captain Action. He's got, a Harry Houdini piece out there. He's got a lot of anthology work, including some Planet of the Apes stuff. So, wow. And of course, a book on, essays about one of my favorite shows of all time, 66 Batman. So, again, if you're someone who, go ahead, Jim.
All I was want to say really quick is if somebody has not yet pulled the trigger on any of the Kindle World stuff, do it now. It's by July 16th, I believe it is. It's all going to be gone.
Right around the corner.
So purchase it now and find out what everybody else has been enjoying this whole time.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, we appreciate you jumping on board again, and we'll be there to support you in your panel next Saturday at 2:00. And I know me and Fred will be lined up to get us a. Hey, by the way, will you be taking Amazon gift cards? Sorry, I had to.
Mike's gonna walk up to you with an Amazon card and want to buy a Kindle Worlds edition. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
So
actually, I might consider that because I could just turn around and use them myself, right? Yeah. Okay, but you know what? There's an upcharge for that.
Oh hell no.
2 cents.
Yeah, there's an upcharge for that. So for a $10 book, it's $15 in Amazon gift cards.
Okay, there we go. All right, well, we're going to move on to the next part of the show. We're going to talk. I guess we're going to talk about some regular stuff. We're just going to talk about do's and don'ts at JoeCon. I know some people have touched on it on Facebook and some other social media outlets. And then we'll discuss, for people who don't know, I do run the JoeCon unofficial page on Facebook. And we have I just approved another member. We're up to 500 and some odd members. And I see 584. We have 584 members, which is really impressive, to be honest with you. And a lot of the people on here I see more talk on here than I do on His Tank and even the club's forums for JoeCon. So for people who don't know, if you're wanting to find something to do, to hang out, to have a good time, next Friday morning, and this is something I did for BotCon for many years, and Rick can vouch for it, is I usually put on a breakfast meetup, and basically it's kind of like you get together, get to know people, see new, old faces, new faces. And, it's kind of like to help people who've never been to a big convention or a JoeCon or a BotCon at the time to, where to go, what to do, what to expect. And even though this is the last JoeCon, there are a lot of new people who are actually making their first attempt to come to JoeCon. The breakfast meetup will be June 22nd. It's next Friday morning. We're starting, I put 8 a.m. I'm actually going to change that for anybody who wants to be there at 6:30, because that'd be for dealers who can't make it during the regular times because of dealer setup, of course. So we're going to say 6:30 to about maybe 10 or so, whenever people leave. And I'm going to make an attempt to get down there about 7:30 just to hang out for the most of the time. But basically, it's in the restaurant, which is find it.
Just for that, Mike's buying breakfast.
The hell I am. You seeing them prices?
Whoa.
They're with tax. It's like
all on Mike.
With tax and all, it was like 15, 33, or 38, something like those. And of course, it has a omelet station, the buffet. So it has a lot of things involved in on it.
That's cool.
But there is a I know I wrote this down somewhere. Hold on. I'm going to drive myself insane trying to find it.
Short drive.
It's at the Chattanooga Marriott downtown. the hotel, the main con hotel. Well, it won't be hard to find. It's going to be the only restaurant serving breakfast in the morning. So, I mean, we can't screw that up. So, but there's that for June 22nd, which is a Friday morning. We actually put a poll out for to see what people wanted to do as far as, a lot of us, guys like to get out the bar, drink, so we're going to do a Friday night meetup after the golden ticket reception in the restaurant, somewhere along the restaurant. I got to find out the name of it.
Are peasants allowed to come to that?
Yes, peasant, I'll let you come. You can come, peasants. You haven't been on Facebook, Rick. Something was said about peasants, and I have rode that thing dry with Fred.
With the golden tickets, you mean?
Yeah, the golden ticket.
Somebody asked if Mike and I were golden ticket holders, and Mike's like, "Why, yes, I am." And I'm like, "No, I stand with the peasants."
And then he threw up a Magic the Gathering card of peasants on it.
Hey, and I quoted Animal Farm, but I paraphrased it. All Joe fans are equal, but some are more equal than others. Rick, are you a golden ticket guy this year?
I am. I'll be standing with Mike.
So basically, like Friday night, a lot of my friends from years past and you guys, my newer Joe friends, you guys are all going to be in the golden ticket reception. I'm going to be sitting down at the hotel bar with a craft beer singing, "One is the loneliest." Maybe I'll go see Jurassic World or something.
Well, I think you're leaving early on Sunday. Me and Rick were talking about
it.
Yeah, we might go see it after Tom.
I'm open to win, but I know my wife is like, man, she wants to see Jurassic Park. That's her era. She loves that stuff.
I actually been binge watching it, actually, to be honest with you.
I'm excited for it too. So if we find like that moment where there is nothing going on, I'm willing to go whenever to see that.
That's cool. Me too.
I don't know what's happened, but Mattel in the past few months has put a vacuum cleaner tube into my wallet because I have bought so many of the dinosaurs.
Have you really?
I'm building my own like modern Dino Hunters team, and these things are amazing, and there's so many of them.
There is a lot.
Look at the shelf space. I mean, they've done a good job getting it out there as far as like just the marketing and the shelf space that they've given it. I mean, a lot of people have jumped on. It's
and if you can go to Target, I know we're off topic already. I tend to do that. If you can make it to Target, though, you can find a 1/18th Alan Grant, Robert Muldoon, and if you're really lucky, Ellie Sattler. For like under $10 each. Then you buy the Jeep for $17. You can throw them in there. And Ian Malcolm is coming later. Like, hello, where was this? If they were just a touch larger, they'd be perfectly in scale with 1/18. They're a little short, but they look great with classic Joes.
It's cool.
Also, for people who are coming in, I'm going to be there Tuesdays when I get in. And I think I'm rooming with John for a night. Then I'll have my hotel room. But we'll be open in the hotel room, my hotel room, for room-to-room trading. So I know people who haven't gone to room-to-room trading before. It's actually really fun. You'd be surprised sometimes you'll find better deals in room-to-room than you will on the dealer floor. And that also gives the dealer the opportunity to try to move that product before the dealer room opens, which I've seen some dealer friends do that. So I'll post my room number everywhere, social media wise. If y'all want to just come hang out and have a beer and you don't have to come just to buy stuff. You can just come hang out. Even you, Fred, you peasant.
Pleasant. I'm a pleasant peasant. Really,
you're a pleasant peasant. I like that.
I have a funny disposition.
Yeah. And
I'll be one of those guys sitting 4 rows behind you guys in panels, going, "Hi."
Yeah. So let's talk about. I've gone to many cons in my life, and we're going to talk about some do's and don'ts. First do, and I posted this on Facebook. 3 major things you need to have at not even Joe Con, but any convention you go to. 1 is your deodorant. 2 is your toothbrush, and 3rd is a daily shower. Period. Don't nobody want to smell your funky ass. Okay. And the reason I say that, and this is the honest God truth, 2010, Rick, that was the first con I ever went to.
Yeah.
And what it was, we were waiting outside Brett's room, Mega Toy Fam. That's when he was selling that exclusive for the show that year. And we got in his room, and I bullshit you not, there must have been 30 of us crammed in that room. And there was one dude next to me. Swear to God, he had a wife beater on, and he has had sweat just going all down his face, and he stunk to high heaven. So I hope he's not watching. But still, the point being is that, dude, seriously, do personal hygiene. You're going to be there for at least, most people will be there from Thursday on out. Some will be there Wednesday. I'll be there Tuesday, so I got to bring extra drawers. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's just the honest God. That is a dude. Make sure you have personal hygiene stuff.
I will say,
I'm trying to be a dick. I'm just being honest.
Right.
It's funny. I went to Gen Con a number of years ago, and it is this massive gaming convention in Indianapolis, like close to 70,000 people. And there's a group of people. They go out and they buy the travel size Axe body sprays. They literally walk around and they go, "You need this."
Wow.
And they hand it out to people because, and I'm a gamer, so I'm not ripping on gamers, but the average gamer is not exactly the most svelte athletic person in the world. And you cram a bunch of them in a room, and that's just asking for flop sweat a lot.
That's true.
Last year at JoeCon, I didn't have any of the bad smell experience. It was at every BotCon, there had to be at least one day where like someone that was just super funky, was in the room.
You know what?
But JoeCon was fairly clean. I mean,
I'm saying, if I see you near me and I smell someone funky, I want to holler out, "Rick, come smell this." Come get your first JoeCon.
What's this guy doing? Yeah, we'll call him out.
Oh my. Mike.
So that's a do. So does anyone have a don't they want to talk about?
Oh boy.
I got one.
Go ahead.
All right. I would say I know for me, when you walk into a dealer room, especially like I'd been to BotCons, but I hadn't been to a JoeCon before last year. And Mike had pointed me to a certain dealer that had, I'd say, like 99% of everything O-ring. It's a lot. It's a lot for you to take in. You need to come up with a list. So don't come not prepared with the things that you are looking for, the things that you need. And, if you go off the list, that's fine. But just come, if you come in, you're not prepared, you're just going to people are just going to trample over you because a lot of people are on a mission. Some people already have everything, but I promise you, if you're in the dealer room line early and you're one of the first 50 people, 100 people in, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, we know we'll be first in line because your wife will be holding a spot, right?
I hope so. I need to be really sweet this week. This is I need to butter her up.
Hey, buddy, chocolate and flowers. Make that woman happy. And a bottle of wine.
To tie into that about what Rick was saying is this is kind of another don't. It's kind of a half do, half don't. When you're in a convention, you're in a crowded space. There's a lot of people. They're all there. And, in a dealer's room, there's only so much table space.
Yep.
Be aware of your surroundings. So if you're at, a dealer's table and you look up and you're like, "Oh my God, it's the Mike Tittle." That is, if you're going to go mob Mike or anybody and, a friend of yours that start having a conversation, maybe step away from the dealer's table. Let someone else come in, have that opportunity to step up at the table. If you're not there to shop, just step away, free up the space. Because there's a lot of us cramming into a tiny area, and like Rick said, people are going to have their lists. There are finite quantities of certain things out there that people are going to want. This year, they're probably not Hasbro produced, but John's got the hats for Hardball that he's bringing. Marauder is going to be there. And Marauder is going to have everything. And you've got, great dealers like Roma are going to be there with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom and, Vitruvian Hacks and all this. So again, let the table space be for people who are shopping.
Yeah.
When you get to Sunday, it's a whole different ball game. But man, Friday and early Saturday, people are cutthroat, and just let them get in there and treat people like you want to be treated.
And also, when you're saying that, looking out for someone, if you happen to bump into somebody or you get in someone's way, it don't take 2 seconds to say, "Excuse me, sorry, didn't see you there." That's one thing I've seen over the years is how, people will just bump into you and not say a word to you. I mean, just use common courtesy. It's not like we are, this is The Walking Dead and you can just run over anybody the way you want to. I mean, honestly, this is called spade. Seriously, yeah, that's really what it is. I mean, so there's that. I had one. Another thing, and this was brought up this past week, and I really don't want to pinch too much onto it, but when you see cosplayers and you want to get a picture, just don't run up and ask. Cosplay, and this is not only in Arkansas I've seen, but it's everywhere. But cosplay doesn't mean consent. And I know there was an issue this past week or 2 weeks ago where someone had said something along the lines of, and we'll just say, he said he was going to pinch the Baroness on the butt. Now, he did not say he was going to pinch a cosplayer on the butt. He just said the Baroness. His exact words to me were, well, I could have been referring to the 1984 Baroness toy. Pinch, pinch. It was taken out of context to a degree on some people. Some people saw it a different way. The fandom erupted. So if you're going to go buy a cosplayer, please ask them before you do anything. Don't touch them anywhere. Don't pinch them. Don't say anything inappropriate. I mean, they do this for fun. Granted, yes, sometimes they look very risque, but that's the character part sometimes. So
cosplayers are people. They're not props.
Exactly.
And, it's one thing where you see people would go to McDonald's and they had that Ronald McDonald statue on the bench, and people crawl all over it and get the pictures. Okay, I'm pretty certain fiberglass Ronald does not feel violated. But a cosplayer, got a lot of germs. Yeah, but a cosplayer, and we've had, Joe Colton's been on the show before. The girls of the finest always have a great representation there. These are people. And you know what? Treat them, walk up, like Mike said, walk up, ask permission. Hey, would you mind if I got a photo? Let them initiate the pose for the photo. Don't just go, ha, because that's, treat them like you treat your sister or your mom.
Yeah, especially, you got to think, especially on the women's side, that's someone's wife, sister, child, think of it the way you want to be treated as well. So I just want to nail that issue out on that.
I got to do.
Yeah, what you got?
Bring cash.
Yes. Cash is king.
Because not just for room to room, but let's be honest. Even if dealers do take cards, and I know it's real easy just to swipe the old plastic. Even if they do, there's not always the best signal, which means the transaction is going to be slower. Or if they're on the conference center Wi-Fi, so is everybody else. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be throttled back. If you bring cash, you can walk up, you can talk, you can make your transaction, you can step away, you can free up space for the next person to come through.
Someone else had said this, that if you want to use your card that bad, use it for the Collectors Club line.
Yeah,
because you're only going to be in line long enough. You might as well just take that extra 5 minutes for it to go through. And then, and usually when you go through a dealer, if you use your card, cash will persuade them to maybe not on Friday or Saturday, but maybe Sunday. You want to get that extra deal. Hopefully a lot of dealers will be wanting to unload a lot of their merchandise on Sunday. And you're like, hey, will you do this for this? But if you hand over a card, they're going to charge them fees. Yeah. They're going to be like, well, no, I need Cash is a lot better. That's something I've
It's-
learned over the years.
Absolutely. I've already done my little bank run and everything. I would say that's number one. Number one is cash. Do not come without cash. The ATM will run dry and you will see that Defiant that you wanted so bad.
Yep. Cash, that's one thing. I'm sure there will be an ATM, but usually that thing will be cleaned out super fast.
Oh,
Yeah. Sometimes earlier in the day you can get to it, but like later in the afternoons, depending on the hotel.
That, and I don't know if they come back and refill those on a regular basis either.
they may not, because a lot of these convention centers, conference centers, they may not be used to this much of a retail transaction type of convention, unless they're having like, a Wizard World or, a Little Rock Comic-Con kind of, event there where there is a dealer's room, So yeah, bring cash. And if you're like Rick, have your money clips sorted out by day. I just picture Rick walking in with this large dude that stands like this and and Rick's got that Rolls Royce briefcase where he's like, pops it open, pulls out the wad of cash,
I wish.
Well, he'll be like that, and that.
I'll tell you the other thing that I wish I had brought last year that I didn't, but I already have it for this year out is if you're a vintage guy like the O-ring stuff, bring your screwdriver set, bring some extra the O-rings, and bring an X-Acto. I'm bringing I'm not doing the custom class, but I'm bringing like all my stuff in case I buy some stuff. And you kind of go back to your room at some point. You want to stand them up, and I even have my little small Joe stands already out. Everything this year, I'm like on it.
Rick is on top of that stuff, man. He's something else on that crap. It's ridiculous.
Also, if you're buying like vintage stuff too, I usually bring and some of those things are big, even if it's not like weighty. Like maybe you're buying the Mamba. I always bring like at least one big Tupperware container and some bubble wrap. And you can kind of layer that out and keep everything safe for your journey home, especially if you're driving, which is what I'm doing this year. So,
true story and a testimonial to Rick on Tupperware. So 2009, I flew to Kansas City. That was the Rise of Cobra Con. And Adewale, I'm going to butcher his name, who played Heavy Duty, was there. And I brought 2 figures, and I got them autographed. I had one for myself, one for Justin Bell, who couldn't make it that year. And I put them in a Tupperware container, put them in the middle of my duffel bag, and when I went to fly home, my luggage got delayed.
Oh no!
My luggage got left out on the tarmac during a freak Kansas storm. So when I picked it up, and this was like the next day when I got back, I picked up my bag and tipped it. Water flowed out. Everything that was in there, the D-Class newsletter, all the paperwork was just ruined.
Oh my God!
Except for the figures that were in the Tupperware container. So, Rick, you are a wise sage Jedi for mentioning that.
Yeah.
I have another do, and this is a personal thing. I started doing this years ago, and especially in New Orleans, the very first New Orleans con. If you are driving, it does not, unless you've got just 10,000 people in your car, pick up a case of bottled water somewhere.
Yep.
Bring it along in your room, leave it in your room, throw a couple in your bag each day, or, when you go out during the day, because there aren't water fountains. If there's complimentary ice water anywhere, everybody and their brother's going to it. It's going to be mobbed. If it's, we're in Chattanooga, we're almost to Georgia. There's this thing called humidity, which sucks your soul out when you go outside. It sucks the moisture out of you.
Camera up.
And
stay hydrated. It's snowing up there in Illinois and Fred's neck of the woods.
We're right on the snow line. But seriously, when I went to the first New Orleans con, I had a case of water. I brought it with me, and we destroyed that within a couple, because it was so damn humid there. So also, the other thing to do is bring, if you're bringing a backpack or something, bring a couple of granola bars.
Yes.
Seriously.
Look into your own food. I mean,
good stuff.
Granted, you're on vacation, but still, food can get pricey really fast.
And hotel and conference center restaurants that look convenient to you are also convenient to everyone else.
Correct. Like I said, for the breakfast meetup, even the breakfast buffet is, with tax 15 some change. I mean, that's, a lot of money just for breakfast, and you can pretty much get, man, a bag full of egg muffins at, at McDonald's for that price. But the point being is that, I know in our room where we'll have probably 6 to 7 guys rooming in our room, is that we're bringing sodas. There was one year we bought bread and lunch meat. I mean, you just have to really, in one year I did do room service, and it got pricey. I'll admit that. And it was in California of all places. I did the room service, and it got, like I said, it got pricey. I mean, I know, but do remember, if you are registered to go to JoeCon, there is the Saturday night dinner is included in your package, so you'll get some form of fancy food of some sort, not for sure, but there is that. And then I know for Friday night for me and Rick, there's golden tickets, so we have 2 nights of food to work off of. So we'll be okay on that one. I'll make a meal out of that crap. What?
For peasants, we have to wait outside the door with bowls and go.
Hey, dude, I'll bring you a napkin and some Swedish meatballs or something.
Crap! I had another one. This is something, and I know with golden tickets, it's kind of skewed a little more because they get the first so many rows saved for them. But it's not as big a deal this year because there's not a Hasbro panel. There's not, which always had the big reveals. There's not the club panel with, hey, here's what's coming, But honestly, a big do is if you want to go to a panel, if you want to go to an autograph session, save yourself a little headache. Get there about 10 to 15 minutes early. Get there before it starts. Queue up. You'll be good to go. And this way, you're not going to have to worry about racing that deadline, especially for the autographs, because, these guys are out there to sign, and they're there to, and people will always talk and do stuff with them. But at the same time, they're people, and they probably have other things to do once that panel ends. So
exactly.
And also, when you go to an autograph, I'm kind of springboarding here, but when you go to an autograph session, remember, even though you get a couple minutes with that person, everybody else wants a couple minutes too. So, the last thing you want to do is stop and take a huge amount of time out and tell them, the history of your great Aunt Millie and, her prized cow and all of this. Just keep it concise, keep it tight, especially for like Larry, because Larry's
exactly
in the world, and Larry will take time with you. But remember, everybody else wants time with Larry too.
I was just fixing to point that out. Be considerate of Larry. Please do not go up to Larry with 30 comic books and expect him to sign every single one of them like that. I've seen someone do that one year, and it disgusted me when he did it. So remember, even though we all love Larry, we all want something from Larry, just remember that he's going to do so much and so long of the time he's there. So be considerate of everyone else who will be at JoeCon. Another thing, even though I know a lot of us are upset that the guest list is a little lackluster this year, or we're having returning guests, which we don't mind that. We love seeing people like Kurt and Larry on a yearly basis because we consider them really our Joe family. But I know there'll be other people in attendance. We do know for sure Daryl DePriest, who is with Hasbro, will be there in no form except doing some moderated panels. So be considerate if you do see him to, if you want an autograph or picture, just, walk up to him and say, hey, do you have a second? I need an autograph picture. I'm sure he will do it. Bobby Valla, Hasbro designer, will be there for the custom class.
Who?
Yeah, I know. He's not talked to me no more since he went on that Brit show, which I don't mind the Brit show whatsoever.
Oh.
I really like him. But yeah, I like giving Bobby a hard time on that. But anyways, he'll be there. And I'm actually, personally, I'm taking I have the all 3 of the Marvel Legends Deadpools, the 12-inch ones that Bobby helped design on. I'm planning on getting those autographed along with my my box for the last year San Diego, the Missile Command set.
Nice.
I'm getting that. Hopefully him and Daryl both sign that for me. Now I do know, can we say the other guy's going to be there? Is that really something we can say? Okay, I won't say it.
There are people. I was going to say there are people that are going to be there that are current and or former Hasbro employees. They are there mostly as attendees this year. I know Bobby's helping with the custom class, which this is official, so we're not leaking anything there. Daryl is moderating a panel.
He's actually doing a couple panels, I think.
Yeah, but remember, they're there as attendees. So, look, we're all a little frustrated with the direction or the lack of direction seemingly that Joe has right now. And while Daryl is a super professional guy, I mean, this guy will sit there and he is such a pro. And I've watched him year after year at JoeCons talking to people and handling that. But this year, don't walk. Please, I can't say this enough. Really, if you're really fired up about why there's not Joe on store shelves and you can't go out and buy, a brand new modern construction ice cream soldier, maybe send that into Hasbro's, through the links on their website to their customer service numbers. Don't walk up to Daryl in public and go, "Hey, you're the one." Do not.
No, and
is a huge champion for Joe.
Yes, he kept JoeCon alive these last 2 years.
Yeah,
he is the man that kept it alive. Period. That's all it's to it. And Rick will be the first one to vouch for this. Is that I voiced all my opinions last year with Daryl when we were at the Golden Ticket.
Yeah,
we got everything out, and I hope he enjoys this.
And we were just fan. We were just looking for answers too. Like a lot of our questions were kind of directed to what do you know? What can you tell us? Can you help with this? Because he's on the inside, we're not. But yeah, he's always great.
He is, and I like I said, he'll be there. Like I said, even Fred said, a regular person. He'll moderate a couple of panels that I know for sure I've read up on, and just let him enjoy it. Because he not only does he work for Hasbro, but he is a super Joe nerd.
Yeah.
If you really know Daryl, you will know that he is a Joe nerd, just like Bobby.
He wrote the what I think is probably the definitive book on the 12-inch line.
Right.
I mean, it's and he wrote that before I believe before he was a Hasbro employee. So
yeah. And if you do see any of the other current or former ones, if they're not there by any capacity representing JoeCon or Hasbro, they're there to have fun just like the rest of us are, and treat them as you would treat, like we said earlier on the cosplayers. Ask before you do anything. If you're like, hey, I just want to say hello, appreciate everything you did for the brand. Can I get your picture real quick with you? And if they say no, say, okay, cool, walk away. I don't think they're going to be honest with you. I mean, these are some really stand-up guys, and I've enjoyed talking to a lot of people who I've heard who might be there. So,
I will say too, and this is, you don't even need to say this really, but I'm a wordy guy. Mike starts laughing. He's like, we can't shut him up.
Can't shut his ass up for years.
This is the last of the Fun Pub JoeCons.
Yes.
This was not Fun Pub's decision, from what I understand, to say, yeah, we're done. So be respectful of the Fun Pub folks there. If you see Brian walking around, he's always in, commander-in-chief mode at this sort of event. But
shorts.
Shorts of the bullhorn. But thank him for all that they've done. Look, the club has not been perfect over the years. No. I know I have given them grief about certain things, just in the time that I've been at the helm of JBL and been working, and interacting with them. But thank the club people for what they've done. Yeah. We wouldn't have had how much stuff if it weren't for the club. And the other thing is be respectful of your fellow Joe fans. We're all there because we love, 1/6 scale, 1/18 scale, whatever the hell Sigma 6 is, whatever scale that is, which is, we're all there because we love these little plastic men.
That's right.
And the comics and the cartoons. And for the two people that are like, I love Rise of Cobra, get some help. But you know what? We're all there. So be good to your fellow Joe friend, Joe fans. When you're in line, strike up a conversation with somebody, you know, and just keep it. Don't shove people out of the way. Don't be a douchebag. Sorry.
Hey, it's this one thing that when I was at the final BotCon, they had like their final BotCon panel, and I know at JoeCon they're going to do that last JoeCon panel. One thing that I really missed is no one recorded that last panel at BotCon to get that standing ovation, or people were literally crying, the hardcore fans. Yeah. No one got that on film. Please, someone record that moment. I'm sure it's going to be something that will be allowed to be recorded. Please, someone get it and have it on film, capture it. So we can enjoy it later, because other than, I think FunPub might have gotten that last BotCon panel. I don't think anyone else did. It's nowhere out there, and I've searched deep and asked a lot of people.
This is one year I hope to actually be able to film, since I was actually not chosen to continue my volunteer status with the club this year, after I've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years for both conventions. I'm hoping to actually film some of these panels and get them uploaded. Yeah, exactly. I tried.
We all have these little devices. In fact, I have the extra battery ready to snap on the back of my Moto Z and hopefully do some live coverage. So
that's what we were hoping to do. Man, one thing I do want to chime on, and I'm not going to go into full detail on the reasoning why, but sometimes, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything, there are times that I am contacted by Fun Publication. And sometimes it's for good things. Sometimes it's for, what were you saying? Why did you say this? Take that down. And I've been very respectful of their decisions they've asked me to do. I was called and I was asked to post a statement that regarded some idiot jackass from another state we will not name, nor his name, said he was going to do some stupid stuff. Law enforcement were involved in on it in his state. But this came from the club. This is a statement post that was not up for a discussion. I was not going to discuss this on Facebook whatsoever or talk about it, get in an argument with people. But I had it on very good authority. The safety of all persons at JoeCon will not be in jeopardy whatsoever. All security measures have and will be taken to secure a safe and family-friendly weekend at this final JoeCon after 25 years. So go to JoeCon with ease, knowing that they have taken every action possible to make the convention very safe for everybody. And I take the man at his word on it when he told me. So, like I said, I'm not going to go to details on what was said and all that other stuff. But the point being is I just don't want to, I just want people to know, because people have talked about it, mentioned it. One post got completely out of hand. We had to delete it, ban a user over it after he called me a dick. So we went ahead and kicked him out.
And his name's not even Richard.
I know, right? Damn, come on. I mean, it's smooth like one, but I mean, come on.
Oh, I know one thing we've talked about too, and it was kind of fun last year when Mike and Rick sat down outside the dealer's room or somewhere in the vicinity, and we did the live show on Saturday. I believe we're going to try it again this year.
We will find the Wi-Fi, the farthest the Wi-Fi can get. Here's one thing I will tell you. We will probably not, unless there's a Wi-Fi connection at the convention center that I can get on and hopefully work, then we're going to have to do it over at the hotel. Because what I did find out is that this convention center is massively huge. It takes up 2 city blocks. That's how big it is. It is one level. But if you are coming from the Chattanooga Marriott, you come down to the 2nd floor, and there is a breezeway from the hotel to the convention center.
Nice.
So there's a do that you do now know you can do. But we will do our best to find the best Wi-Fi connection. I'll have my laptop and everything like I did last year. Hopefully, we'll bring the banner with us. We'll find somewhere to stand, sit, and you'll see us somewhere. Hopefully Saturday, the 3 of us will be united in our in our t-shirt show or show shirts.
And this could be the end of the universe if all three of us are in the same room. So, but honestly, we will post on the Facebook page and on JBL's Facebook page as well when we figure out where this is going to be. And if like last year, I'm kind of hoping, and I'm totally speaking for Fred here, but I'm really kind of hoping we can do like we did last year, where if you want to stop by while we're recording, and instead of listening to us go, man, this is the last year. If you want to get on and do that, come on.
By all means, go on.
Sit down on the couch. I'll get my chatty butt off of it and let you sit next to these two gentlemen, and you can, give us your thoughts on the final JoeCon and anything you want to say. Last year, Mike even got Savage to cameo, which means I had to wear that god awful T-shirt. But we had the voice of Big Lob, and Daryl stopped by, and it was probably one of my favorite shows to go back and watch.
I actually watched it a couple times too. So guilty.
So that's how we get our viewer count high.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you want to, we will post that. And if you're at all interested, find us and stop by. We would love to talk to the 5 people that diligently listen to this every time. Hi, Mom.
Well, actually, I would say it's 4 if you include, it's 5 if you include your mom.
That just sounds like you're like, it includes your mom, dude. But yeah, so, and I know Mike's even got some stuff to pass out.
Yeah.
So we will have Mike. You can talk about that. What you have in terms of show swag.
And this is something that and I'm just doing it for fun. Just and I'll even if it wasn't the last JoeCon, I probably would still do it just to maybe I guess seemingly plug us a little bit. But it's kind of like for the people who actually do watch us and who are interested in watching us, we did have some buttons made up. With the logos that we, you can see back here, the banner I actually had made. The button is each of our faces. We each have 100, or actually it'll be 99 because I'm keeping a set for myself. But we'll be passing those out for free. So Fred will have Fred, Mike will have Mike. We might switch it up on Saturday. He'll have me and I'll have him. Who knows? But I'll have mine. Hush. Wednesday. You can find me Wednesday night in the club line. Or I'll be around, and then Fred will be in the peasant line on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll be getting in Wednesday, but I'll just be sitting at the hotel bar singing "One Is the Loneliest Number." So
just come find us. I mean, in worst case scenario, if you can't find us, which I don't see where you wouldn't, message us here on our Facebook page, or even Joe Battle Lines as well if you're trying to find Fred for some reason, and then.
And poor Rick. I just realized Rick doesn't get any PR out of it.
Womp, womp, womp.
Like okay,
I'm good.
If you bring a bag of broken glass,
he'll sign it. He'll sign it.
Rick will sign it for you. Again, we might even have when we're recording on Saturday, we might even just put some of the buttons out in front and hey, stop by, take a button, don't throw them at me.
We actually might have some of this stuff set up with some good friends of ours who've been guests on the shows. I'm pretty sure John will, Pappy's Collectibles will let us. I'm sure Kavanaugh, Dan, Carson even would if we asked, but we haven't really reached out. I mean, probably put maybe 5 of each on a table, people take them. That's another thing I do want to say. We have had previous guests on the show this past year and a half, 2 years, year and a half. Carson, volume 5 and 6 are out. He'll have those at the show. I don't know if he'll have slipcases extra or not. I actually received my slipcasing book yesterday. It is very beautiful piece of work.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It is.
I used to have to do when print was bigger. I used to have to do a lot of fancy annual reports and things like that, and I've done all kinds of print techniques. Carson has done something that even big companies can't manage to put out, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah. That slipcase, I mean, is the most
He did a fantastic job. Also, it wasn't due until December. It's June. I mean, he's got the Kickstarter thing he's got down, the print process and techniques he has down. This guy is top of his game.
Yeah,
and you do not want to let Carson lug boxes of books home. No, so seriously, hit his table after I do, because I need to pick up volume 3 and then clean him out.
Yeah, I actually have my list of people I need to see. Carson is on top of the 3 or 4 guys, which another guy I'll talk about is Dan. I can't pronounce the name.
Dan Klingensmith.
He is the author of the brain fart, Fred. What is it? Tell him.
Creating GI Joe, 3 3/4 GI Joe, or creating 3 3/4 Joe. I'm sorry, I got the title wrong.
He actually put out volume 5. Was it 5 we got?
I believe 5 or 6. I've been buying every single one.
So he'll be set up. If I'm correct, him and Carson, or him and Kavanaugh are set up together, is my understanding. So definitely, he's on my list as well to get the first 2 or 3 issues I need to complete my book collection.
And speaking of Kavanaugh, I'm going to hold up my phone because we don't really have fancy things to share. If you have not seen this, you need to buy this.
This is a yearbook kind of deal. Is that correct? This is something special for JoeCon. He has very limited on these.
Yes, this is the volume 4, part 1.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. James's rank and file series. So he's done the 25th era. He's done the movie era. He's done Pursuit of Cobra. He's gotten us all the way up. He's done the 50th. He's all the way up to, he has not done the exclusives yet. So the Comic-Con exclusives, I believe, and the Fun Pub stuff. Yes. This is volume 1. And so what I just showed up when I held my little phone up to my janky little version of screen share, James made a special cover just for JoeCon. For $30, you're going to get volume 4, part 1. So you're going to get the first so many years. I have an article up at JBL with some pages if you haven't already seen them. That's not a site plug. But it's he's got like the original Joe versus Transformers Comic-Con and some of those early concepts in there. What he has done is he's done a special cover, which is an homage to the Marvel Comics Real American Hero issue number 26, which is Snake Eyes, the Origin Part 1. He's done it with Joe collectors and fans on the cover. And then this con edition also includes 4 blank pages, and you get a Sharpie with it. These 4 blank pages are like your high school yearbook, where you can take around to your friends or your favorite YouTube casters and have them sign it. And then later when you're at home and you're like, next year, and you're like, I really wish there was a JoeCon, you can open it up and be like, oh, warm glow. So seriously, find James, get this. That cover I think is hilarious, especially the picture. I'm going to take credit. I took one of the photos on there, the picture of Crystal Ball, which is from 2005 in Minneapolis. And pick it up. Find, you guys all know James. He's a super cool dude.
Yes, yes.
I think this year, I'm not disparaging anything that Fun Pub's done, but I think the fan creations this year are just killer.
There are a lot of fan stuff this year. Kavanaugh's book is very limited from what I was understanding. He told me a number. I would have to search around to find out how many it was, but he did tell me there was a number.
Yeah, and this is the regular version will be available on his website with a different cover. From what I understand, it will not be convention exclusive.
There are pictures now, because we sent a bunch of pictures in, remember? So there are pictures inside the book, like a yearbook, right?
No. That is, on the cover, those are the cover photos. The cover photos that include Joe Colton, Kavanaugh, and then that picture of a group of us over at Smokescreen's house in Indianapolis from like 2007. Those are the pictures that we sent in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
That for the cover. The inside is going to be, with the exception of the 4 signature pages, is going to be the same as if you don't go to JoeCon, you're gonna be like, damn it, how am I supposed to get this? You just get the regular edition, and you won't get 4 blank pages. That's all. So, but it's going to be interesting this year. Again, club. The one thing too to be aware of. This kind of is just a random cautionary note. The club increased the production on the number of convention sets because of the sellout. From what I understand, they did not increase the production of the souvenir sets.
So get in line early.
And that is the thing: is get in line. When we did our do's and don'ts, if you are going Thursday to registration with all of us, and you're going through in the peasant lines, get up there, get what you want Thursday night. I have a feeling things will sell out this year because attendance is increased. And there's no vehicles. The club is not trying to do what they did with the Sky Strikers and the Conquests, where they have them sitting around, because they've got to get rid of everything by next year, the end of next year. So it's all figure exclusives this year. Get your stuff Thursday night. Do not come in Saturday and assume that the club store is just going to be chock full of all the convention exclusives. That has not happened for several years. Although the vehicles have been slow sellers the last few years, there are no vehicles this year.
Also, a lot of people have talked on Facebook groups about getting their confirmation email about what time to pick up. And I told Fred this, and he was able to find his. But if you have not received your email, the club's going to be closed starting Monday. They're not going to be there. They're not going to be answering the phones. They're on their way to Chattanooga. Yeah. So with that said, you go to GIJoeClub or GI Joe Convention or con.com.
GIJoeCon.com.
And you will click on the registration. It will tell you that the registration is closed. Down to the bottom right, it will say click here to go to your account. Click there, then on your account, go to the very top, and it's a white page. It says my account. Click on that, and gives you a list of all the emails over all the years you've gotten stuff from the club underneath that email account. And it should show you your times and everything to pick up. You know what? I want to bring that up right now.
And print that letter and bring it with you, because they require that for picking up your registration.
Now,
very old school. One last time, right?
I'll admit this question was brought up, and one of the club employees did chime in, as surprisingly many of them followed this page. Hold on, I'm sorry. I had a brain fart where I was going. I think I was going to schedule. Anyways, now in years past for me, because they know me because I'm on the most wanted list, is that they'll just take your driver's license, or if they see your face, they're like, oh, hey, Mike, or hey, Rick. They'll go get your stuff. They know you. You've been there so many times over the years. I mean, I've gone to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've gone to over 12 Fun Pub shows, I think. This will be 12, I think, total I've gone to. So, I mean, I know most of the people there, except for maybe Brian's kids. I've talked to them a couple of times. But, yeah, print it out to take it unless they know you. And if not, then you can pull it up on your telephone. If you got a smartphone, you can pull that sucker up and show it to them, and they're going to read it right there as well. If you're golden ticket and you're going to be there Wednesday, your pickup time is at 8:30. If you want to do the parachute drop, that's only allowed for the golden ticket people to throw this year, as it has been the last 2 years. So you will want to get there. It's 8:30. I figure we'll put Rick's wife there about 4:30.
I don't know what time.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. I hope to be there by 3, but I'm not positive. It just depends.
I swear, Mrs. Rick is like a saint.
She is. Let me tell you what.
She's great.
She's a keeper. By golly, if he leaves her, I'm jumping up in line. She is a keeper. She is. Now, I swear to God, that woman stands in line. She holds spots. She knows certain things. Surprisingly, she's a keeper. She interacts with a bunch of dudes who talk about plastic toys. Yeah. Come on, she's a great person to be around. I consider her one of the guys except Bustier. No offense, Rick.
Ladies and
8:30.
gentlemen, the PC tact of Mike Dinner.
Rick knows I love him, man. I love him like a brother, man. Anyways, golden ticket pickup is 8:30 on Wednesday. I suggest maybe 6:30. You know, some people will get there. They'll start meeting people, talking, BSing. If you want to be one of the throwers like me and Rick have been, Rick, I'll hold your spot. And then first 30 people who sign up get to throw, period. That's it.
Just stand behind us. Just stand behind us. That's our rule.
It used to just be that you'd get volunteers, you know.
They changed that 2 years ago. And so it was golden ticket only. So that's pretty much then they'll do that. Then there'll be a separate line for package pickup if you're doing the custom class or the tour. That will, you know, basically, you know, when we're all there, they'll be like, hey, what line's this? This is for golden ticket. Do you know where the line is for custom class and tours? And you're like, hey, you know what? Start it right there. Then we start pointing people that direction. So the fans start the lines and tell people how to go before Fun Pup people even get there, which is really funny. So there's that. And then Thursday, if you get your email, you'll have a pickup time, either anywhere between 6 and 10. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. It's based on when you registered, I think.
Correct, it is. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit here and tell you if you're there for 9 to get in the 6 o'clock line and pray to God you get through, but I've seen it happen. But, you know, you take that risk. So golden ticket package pickup will start at 4 to 4:45. That is really probably a 2 o'clocker to start, maybe. And for the people who haven't made from the night before.
Yeah.
And then there will be the golden ticket for the club store only, for the club store only at 5 o'clock, which that line will probably start at 2 o'clock, to be honest with you.
Just a souvenir line?
Souvenir line. Yes, you're going to want to be there early. And, you know, look around, find a chair, pick a chair up, take a chair with you, take a beer with you, take food with you, take a food runner, take a sitter.
Oh.
Just be expected to sit there and have a good time. Talk to Joe fans. Don't be afraid, like Fred said. You can strike up all kinds of conversations with people. I've done it over the years, except for the guy I picked on who was getting. I didn't know we were in the Peter Cullen line, 2010 BotCon, and someone was waiting in line. The first guy was there like 1 o'clock in the morning for Peter Cullen. We got there like 4. And I said, oh, what's he got? He's getting autographed. Oh, he's got a Blu-ray. I'm like, who the hell would get in line just for a Blu-ray? The guy ahead of me held up his Blu-ray.
Oh.
Yeah, I talk about you just put your foot in your mouth on that one. So watch what you say. I mean, just be expected to stay in line. And if you're in the 6 o'clock line for your package and you're a regular Joe, then you'll get there. I'm going to tell you at 3:30ish, start walking around, looking around, having an idea. You see people lined up, I'm telling you, get your ass in line. Then once you get your package, you haul ass over to the other line and get your stuff going. I mean, like Fred said, there's a good possibility we will see stuff sell out.
Oh, yeah.
And something I wanted to bring up, I just thought of it. When you get all your souvenirs, you've got your mound of swag, your souvenir items, your convention set, and you're walking up to your room. Even if you intend to sell, if you're just getting stuff and you're going to flip it on eBay, which I wish people wouldn't do, but that's, you know, whatever. Go through your stuff at the con. Yes. Go through, make certain the right accessories are in there, that, you know, Hardball doesn't have 2 left feet and 3 right arms. Because if you're at the con, or I should say, while you're still at the con and you have an issue like that, take your figure, go down to the Fun Pub information booth, and they will do on-site quality control swaps.
Right.
They are really good about this. You know, they don't even bat an eye. You walk up and go, Hardball's got, 2 right arms. They reach into their magic bag of Joe goodies and they'll pull out another Hardball and they'll let you look at it. Now, be reasonable. Don't be like, well, when I was looking at Hardball, his pupil is just like 1 micrometer off center to the left, and I just really, I don't feel comfortable with this. I just need him to be like perfectly centered.
Now,
Shut up.
if his right eye is on his cheek, there I understand.
Yeah. If he looks like a Salvador Dali painting,
Yeah.
maybe we might want to take that back.
But
yeah, inspect your stuff now, because otherwise, when you get back, you're going to have to ship it back to them, and they may or may not have supplies left at that point.
Exactly, because
it does happen. I've had it happen multiple times, so he's not lying. And you know, don't say, well, it doesn't happen to me. Oh yeah, it can.
It will. First year, 2010, the fire truck in the box set, Pyro with no Pyro. You know what I'm talking about. He had 2 left fists. Wouldn't have known until I took it out and transformed it.
And you know, and it's kind of a courtesy, even if you are buying the stuff just to sell on eBay to pay for the cost of the trip.
Keep it to yourself.
Do your sellers, your buyers a favor and check it, because a number of years ago they had an issue with the feet. The Night Force set, there were bad feet for, was it Hit and Run?
Yes.
At the club, if you had bought it at the convention, they would send you replacement feet. Now, if you bought it on eBay, that was a whole nother can of worms.
Yep.
So, you know, if you're planning to sell stuff, and you know there ends up being a massive QC issue like that, where the club's going to have to send out replacement parts, you know, be aware of all of this. Again, you want to hook up, if you're hooking up your fellow Joe fans, you want to give them the best possible product.
Yeah.
And we want the last year to be a great year, and not the year where we all knew that Hardball didn't have a right hand.
You've brought Hardball up a couple times, and I know
That's because he's awesome.
we do help plug some of our friends who've been on the show, or friends in general. For people who don't know, Jay Russell, that does a Diamond Store, what's it called? Hold on.
Dime Novel Legends.
Yeah, and Broken Arrow Toys. I went to go pick up my my Bullet Man. He fixed for me. You know what he fixed it? He painted it up a little bit and did some stuff for me and fixed the arm. You know what he did for me?
He put the logo on the back?
Put the logo on the back of my figure.
Dude, John's cool, man. I've known John for years.
I'm not mad at him or anything. I just thought it was pretty cool. He said, yeah, I had a bunch of these laying around, so I thought I just slapped that on there for him. And he even painted the head for me. I'm really horrible in painting, but he painted the hair, the eyebrows. I didn't ask him to do that. He did it for me, and I'm very grateful he did. So with that being said, we do know John is a very vocal person on certain items and what he would do differently. John has casted some extremely parts for Hardball. He did some hats, which he did 100 hats. Hold on, let me find the message.
What day are you getting there? You say Tuesday?
Yeah, I'll be there Tuesday.
If you see him before me, make sure you get me a hat. Text me, talk to me.
Well, there's a lot of stuff he's doing for Hardball you might be interested in.
I want it all, Mike.
He got a new head, a new hat, new legs.
Ooh.
To my understanding, it's supposed to all swap out to make him look like the version 1.
Yeah, because we're getting the weird hybridized version.
So there is that. I saw one price he gave me, then I saw another price he posted on our group site. He did say that was $35 for a hat, a new head, which I think, and don't hold me 100% on this, and I really wish he would have chimed in because I asked him to come on. He was busy casting everything, but I believe the head he used was the Map Tracker from San Diego. I think, do not hold me 100% to that. I thought that's what he was going to use. I told him that's what he needed to use. I'm hoping that's what he did use.
Great. And it has not seen a lot of use, which is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
He also will have RoboCop. He has very limited of those.
How much is he doing RoboCop for, do you know?
I think it was 25, I think.
Crap, I need one of those. Your move, creep.
Yeah, I got that. I'm supposed to hit him up when I get in town. I'll be honest with you. All the people, I'm spending a lot of my money with all the people who've been guests on the show. You know, Kavanaugh, I'm buying his book. I'm getting the rest of his books.
Yeah.
Carson getting the rest of his books. You know, John getting the stuff he's got. You know, John will have a lot of stuff as well. We've talked about. He has, gosh, what is it called? The Animal Kingdom Warriors.
Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Oh, he's got the stuff for Series 2, I believe, to take a look at.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. If you want to see some stuff on display, he will also have Series 2 of those.
Which just launched on Kickstarter Friday.
Correct. He will also have the one Kickstarter of Larry Hama's figure on display as well.
Yeah, from was it Fresh Monkey? I think did that. It's part of the Monkey. Eagle Force.
So you need to find John Russell when you get in there. He'll have some cool stuff on display. He'll even have his Cowboys, I believe, on display.
Oh,
and stuff. Line. I know. I've gotten to handle and play with them. They're really cool figures. You know, I honestly, here's what I've thought about. You know, it'd be a first for me and you, Fred. Was that I have thought about getting a Kickstarter for me and you to have our figures made and have John cast them for us.
Do you know? Okay.
Cast us. You done up as Battle Force and me as Tiger Force.
So
that'd be awesome.
A number. Do you guys remember the O-Ring era, the Steel Brigade versus Plague Troopers pack?
Yes.
So one of the guys in there won a contest through FHM, FHM. I think it was, and it was Luke Ellison, and he went out to Hasbro, had his likeness scanned, and he is the figure of Red Zone. He's the bearded guy in the sleeveless Steel Brigade shirt.
That's awesome.
When I was talking to Luke about that, because he was a JBL forum member at the time, and Luke, actually the staffer, Luke was like, "Yeah," he said, "I'm a little terrified to know what my friends are going to do with me now." So it'd be like the Mike figure would be on a shelf and everybody would be like, "Oh," and then they'd be like, "Wait a minute." And there'd be a bag of broken glass, shattered glass for Rick. And they'd be like, "Where's the Fred figure?" And they're like, "Well, we got to put something in the cat litter box to absorb the stank."
No, man, you would be, the people be like, "What? Wasn't he killed off?" I went there. I'm so sorry, Fred.
Oh, look, it's benzene all over again. Too soon. The pain is real.
There's something I haven't done, and I'm so sorry. There's quite a few people in the chat. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. Of course, they're talking about
the chat.
People were talking about skinny Jim. Back towards Larry. Larry limits you to 2, which is correct. He does. I saw him last weekend down in Dallas at the action figure show down there when I met up with John. Had dinner with him. Had a good time. Let's see. Slipcase is one. Yeah, people talking the slipcase. Let's see any questions.
I need to pull my Larry stuff. Last year I got vintage. This year I'm going to get some Don Marino issues, I think. Last year I went vintage. This year I need to get the modern, the new Snake Eyes, I think. I need to get something like that signed.
Rick, you know what you need to get signed by Larry?
What's that?
A carded ARAH era Tunnel Rat. I mean,
I wish.
It'd be like having Kirk sign Law and Order.
I know.
Someone's asking if they can cash in their flag points. Hey, take them.
No, you know what? Yes, I'm going to go on record. You can cash in your flag points at this JoeCon. We will take all your flag points in exchange for one set of Just Another G.I. Joe show pins plus a bag of broken glass.
I knew you were going to say that. Exactly what I was thinking. Hey, we'll trade.
That sounds dangerous.
They're also not intended for small children. Shattered glass Rick action figure not approved and for sale in the Europe, United Kingdom, or most of the world outside of Sri Lanka.
Also, another thing we do have, I did have some prints made for us that have the logo and it says JoeCon 2018 on the bottom. So the place where I get everything printed at, who did the banner for me, they usually do stuff for my local convention as well. And I would have thought they would have done it on cardstock at first, but they didn't, because a lady who had some invitations made, they cut them for her for $3, which, you're having a lot of invitations. you're going to have them cut anyways.
Yeah.
And you would think $3 ain't nothing. This woman gets out of Denali and she's bitching up a storm about $3. So when I called back and I told them, I said, you know what? Go ahead and print another run. Do it on cardstock. I said, you know what? I don't mind. Go ahead and cut those bad boys for me because I don't want to do it. I'll pay the $3 to let someone else cut my crap for me. So we'll have some you know, paper or cardstock images of our logo with JoeCon 2018 on it. If you want us to autograph it, we will. We don't plan on it as anything special, but you know, I mean, if that's what you want, you know, you never know what people. You know, we'll be giving stuff out for free. You know, there's that, the buttons, and then we'll have the banner that you can take odd pictures with. We just ask you don't do nothing sexual towards our picture banner at all. I've seen people say that.
So just notice that Mike's mouth is open really. You could put an arm up in front of it, like, you know, but like it's got to be something you can do. PG, people, keep it covered. Keep it covered. Actually, I will buy a beer to anyone that takes a picture of holding a toothbrush up to either of us, like, because we're both snarling like you're brushing our teeth. That is hilarious. I will buy you a brew for that if you post it on our Facebook page. You have to post it and find us. So also one beer per person.
Yeah, you're limited. Also, real quick, we're not going to go over it because I'm sure you don't hear a bunch of grown men talk about it anymore. But go to joecon.com, and the first thing up there is the seminar panel description. If you want to find out what the description of all the panels are, go there, and there's a small description. Which honestly, I can't remember the last year they did that. I don't remember them doing that the last 2 years. Last 2 years. So
we live in strange times.
Yeah, last year. Let's go out and do everything correctly this time.
Oh, I thought of something else. Don't forget to bring like a poster too, because people have a lot of artwork in that dealer room.
Genius.
Yeah,
Rick's spot on.
Don't forget it. I've forgotten it before.
You lost me on that one. What do you mean poster?
You need you get like a poster tube that you keep up rolled up your prints and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't hear the tube part. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's usually, you know, there's been great artwork. There's been great prints. Oddly enough, my favorite souvenir that I bought that's random art is if you go to Roma Collectibles booth, they have wall switch plate covers that they make with pieces of comic art over them. I have snake eyes on the back of that shark down in my toy room, but that would be great. Or even if you have any kind of like a portfolio kind of thing, or like one of those, you know, notebooks that keep a legal pad, have a pouch in it, bring something like that in case there's a print or something you just want to tuck in, because or like the Joe Declassified newsletter, there's nothing worse than getting home and going, oh man, and you know, the thing that you were happy to get's just all beat to crap.
Also, if you plan on getting the life-size flag from Carson, bring a 15-foot van to roll that up to put inside. He does. I think I might not be correct. I thought Carson kept tubes, or he sold tubes. If not,
he might.
The postal service that will hopefully be in there, unless the convention center has one or the hotel has one.
Yeah,
they usually have stuff like that for sale as well. That's one thing I have not looked into, and I should have. But I'll look into that Monday and post that on the pages, and maybe Fred will post that somewhere as well if he needs to, if there's a postal site online. Man, I think we've covered all that we can in our wisdom of knowledge of do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Is there anything else either one of y'all can think of that?
No, I would say that like the people that can't make it to the con, between all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, we can try to make them feel like they are there. I know last year a lot of people had thanked me just for covering things. Even my wife was taking pictures at some of the events and stuff like that, and people really appreciated that. So
they do, and
you know,
the club itself.
I'll put a link up on JBL with everybody's feeds in
oh, that's awesome.
Mention
you did it last year.
Yeah, and then like, because usually like, well, Mike last year was a freaking machine on Facebook Live, which was killing me. That here's Battle Force, and I'm stuck in Illinois, and Mike's like, "Hey, Fred, look," and I'm like, "But it was awesome because it made me feel like I could, was right there looking at it." So.
You know what we need to do if we have time after we get the exclusives, maybe like Friday morning, is we need to get together somewhere, and we need to do a video and do our what we think about like I did last year. We need to do it together and just do. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I'm bringing a portable photo. Well, we'll talk after, but I'm bringing a photo backdrop that we can use and some lights. So just swing by.
That'd be great. So I don't have anything else. If you're going to the con, don't be afraid to walk up to either one of us and say hi if you need to, except for Fred. I mean, he might bite. I don't know. I haven't seen.
I'm a growler in that banner. I'm not the biter.
Enjoy this. I'm going to be there Tuesday, and tell you what, I'm going to ride that thing all the way till Sunday night, having a good time. And that's what. And Rick will vouch. When I go to these cons, I don't disappoint. I have a good time. If you drink, be responsible. Don't show your ass too badly. Show it to a certain degree. When I get drunk, I have a good time. But be responsible when you're drinking. Be responsible of others. Do personal hygiene. Just don't be a dick. That's all I gotta say. Don't be a dick. We don't want to have to be a dick back to you, But I do hope this interview we had, y'all enjoyed it with us. Be sure to go check out the panel at 2:00 in rooms 13 through 15, and then enjoy the con. Have a good time. I mean, we'll be doing. I'll be doing Facebook Live videos. Hopefully, they're like the parachute drop, like I did before. Hopefully, we'll just be doing a lot of videos, and me and Fred will do our live show. We'll bring Rick along with us. And
thank you.
You're so welcome. And we'll just have a good time, guys. I mean, anything else you guys get to throw in on that?
No, just again, all three of us are going to be on social media doing the best that we can to help bring the experience back for those of you that can't go. Because I mean, realistically, that's what it's all about. Is we all love these little plastic men, and we just want to help share that with you. And that's it. Thanks for watching this and for sticking with us for like a year and a half.
No, right? Also, I want to throw one shout out real quick because Rick pointed it out to me, and I apologize. I usually do not have a lot of time to watch other shows. Rick had told me that Joe Berg, is that correct?
Yeah, Joe Berg.
They have thrown some shout outs out our direction. I appreciate it, so I want to throw a shout out to them.
Those guys are awesome.
I can't wait to meet that crew. And Cujo and I have been talking a little bit too. I'm excited to meet every single one of them. I enjoy their show. They enjoy our show. They always put shout outs to us, and that's awesome. One thing I wanted to say, and I heard Cujo saying this on the last G.I. Joeberg episode, let's get that last JoeCon. Let's make that thing trend, dude. Let's get G.I. Joe up. Trend it up. I started doing it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to continue to do it. Everything I post, hopefully, will have that on it.
Gotcha. And also, any other podcasters who will be there besides us, G.I. Joeberg, I know Full Force will be there. You guys are more welcome to join us Saturday night during our podcast. It's something I've been really wanting to kind of do, actually, is have either a show like we do here or even JoeCon. Just stop by and say hi, and give your 2 cents of the con. It's just, like I said, you didn't got to sit there for the whole how long we do it for. I mean, just 5 minutes is all we ask for you to come by, say hi, shake our hands, put the face with everybody that we've talked to before, and, just for the last time. So I do appreciate everyone who watched. We're down to 3 viewers now from the 10 we did have. So they know we're fixing the end. They're like, okay, we're getting off. They're rambling on. So, you can find me here. You can find Fred at Joe Battle Lines, and you can find Rick at Shatterclass Jazz. And you will see us somewhere on social media throughout the next week for the final JoeCon after 25 years. And then catch us probably the week after. We might take a week off. I don't know. We'll figure it out, and we'll post it how we're going to do it. We'll probably be on a regular schedule. So But thanks a lot for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we will see you all after JoeCon.
Night,
All right,
guys.
JoeCon.
Night.